Welcome back to 1.2 Brain Cells Podcast. Hola, hola.
Yay!
I'm Matthew.
Money.
Yes, welcome back to this week's episode, guys. How y'all doing? How you doing, baby? What's your random thought of the week?
I had one
Wow.
and I wrote it down,
Okay, where is it written
but
down?
it's on my phone, which I am currently using to record this.
You can look at it. I'll do a little
I
cutscene.
don't
Don't
no
you?
my okay, hold on, because I don't okay. Yeah, so my random thought is while it may have its downsides occasionally, for me very rarely, I do really appreciate the fact that I have a small family. Why do I say this? Because my mother she was who the I don't know. She was telling me about like I remember now. Okay, she has this friend who is like fighting. There's like a bunch of happening in that family, like between the siblings and shit. And so they go back to the mother, and the mother's like, "What the fuck you want me to do? Y'all grown."
Yeah,
And I'm like, damn, and I'm like, that's a lot of them. They got, I think they're like nine siblings, right?
a lot. Yeah,
And then all the shit that deal with it because not that long ago they lost the father, and so the whole inheritance bullshit that happens too. And so I was like, damn, I'm happy. It's just us five. Well, now Roberto because mother got married, but it's just me and my three sisters. And while we may bicker,
yeah,
there's no people hunting involved and no like long ass line of connections and shit. And that also
yeah,
reminded me about like how you and Noel and your family, there's a lot of
yeah.
yous and a lot of
Stuff. Yep.
interconnected
Yeah,
relationships
yeah.
and things. And I'm like,
Yeah.
small is simple.
It is. It is. It really is. It's funny you bring that up because something that kind of happened, it was, I think last night that I was like, huh, I've never thought about it like that was,
Hmm.
I think small is good, but
Hmm.
also depending on how small, because I
Hmm.
have my friend Steph, right? And she has her daughter and her daughter ran like I was hanging out I was chilling last night in my house, right? And it
Hmm.
was like I think 9 or 10 p.m. and I stepped away from my phone for literally 2 seconds. When I come back, I don't have my phone on ring. I see that I have a missed call from her daughter, right? And I have like she has my number and whatever in case of anything. So I see this, I see the time, and I'm like, oh fuck, oh my God, the baby called me and I did not answer the baby. We need to call back the baby right now. So I called her back,
Hmm.
doesn't pick up, right? And I'm like, okay. So then a few minutes later, my friend Steph messaged me, hey, my daughter came up to me, told me that she accidentally called you, but she wanted me to let you know that everything's okay, that it was an accident, and for you not to be
Okay.
worried. LOL, right? She
Bless.
goes, and I go, oh my God, thank you. She's so cute. All right, cool. And then she's messaged me. She's like, thank you so much. I really appreciate that you were so quick to answer her. And I go, of course, that's what, we're here. And she's like, yep, she needs her titis, right? And it was cute. It was a cute little moment. But in my head, I was also thinking, right, I know her family and all that she has a good sized amount of family, but nonetheless,
Hmm.
like her core, like her parents and her siblings is just her and two other brothers, right? And in
Mm.
my head, I'm like, wow, because she has mentioned like, oh, you're like an aunt to her at this point, and I'm
Aw.
like, I am one of the only, besides like maybe another person or so, women in her life that I'm like, damn, and then it got me thinking like
Hmm.
who, if I were to have kids, the siblings that my kids, or not the siblings, but the aunties and uncles that my parents are my friends, and Noel, who's blood cousin, but nonetheless, it's Noel plus y'all that are
Hmm.
basically like y'all family, right? It doesn't need to be blood. And I'm like, but if it were just, let's say if it were just like I didn't have that many friends or I didn't have the relationship I have with y'all, my
Hmm.
kids are a little a little fuck, because even if I have my sister's all the way in Florida, so it's like
Right.
I'm sure she'll figure something out. But nonetheless, it's like that's not easy. So that now that you mentioned that, that reminded me. But yes, small is a little simpler though, as many a family drama that I have lived. Not just and as of late, a lot of shit be coming out on the other side too. That I'm saying here like, damn. But tease with
Word,
it. I
word.
feel like any community though, even if it's not just blood, uh, drama be a stewing.
No, that's fair. That's definitely fair.
Yeah, I was gonna say my random thought was, and it
Hmm.
kind of was inspired by our trip. If you go on vacation somewhere and you really like that where you were, would you be the type, you know how the joke is always like, oh, what if I just abandon everything and stay? Would you actually ever do that?
To an actual vacation spot?
Like you went on vacation and you
Yeah.
loved where you know, whatever trip, because we do trips all the time, and you liked it
Okay.
so much, right? Because we make the jokes like, oh, fuck it, like I'm gonna quit my
Yeah.
job and come back, right? Would
Yeah.
you actually ever
Um,
do it?
I don't know. It's not a tricky one. But it's for the most part it's gonna be no, right? Obviously, because part of the reason why it's you're having so much fun is because you have vacation money to spend. You
You're
know,
on a
like we
trip,
going out,
you don't have
exactly, you're on a trip.
responsibilities.
You budget exactly. You plan to eat out every night, right? And you can do this while you're here on this trip because you budgeted this. You booked a really nice place to stay, so we in the nicer part of town and shit. And it's still new, so you're not tired of the people, the locals, or what the city has to offer yet. And maybe you never will, but again, the whole part, the big part of it is that this is vacation money, so it's going to be a lot more comfortable than what you're used to or maybe used to. Um, but then it's also like you're not working right now, so of course shit's gonna be great and lovely. Now incorporate the city and its lifestyles with your work schedule. Do you need a car and shit? What the fuck? There's a lot of
A
if
lot of
if
logistics.
I exactly because I've said this before. I love Amsterdam. If there was another city I could live in, it would be Amsterdam, right? Um, but Amsterdam's an expensive city to live in, so I don't even know if I could one day. Who knows?
I ask, right? Because I always have the thought, but let's say we were to scratch my parents out. I don't think I would be able to like, oh, I'm on vacay and I'm like,
Hmm.
let me just stay. No.
Yeah, I
Now,
couldn't
have I
just
enjoyed,
stay.
yeah, like have I enjoyed places enough that I'm like, maybe I'll be able to do a life here, but I would have to sit and plan. We sit and plan. I'm
Yeah.
not one. Like I like impromptu sometimes. Not really. I'm not
You
really. Look,
don't.
my little Capricorn side be coming out when it comes to planning because I love me a good plan. I love me a good plan. Not every minute, every hour has to be planned, but I love me a good plan. So the idea of just dropping everything and going somewhere is very scary. And we talked about this, I think,
Mm.
before, if you would do it out of necessity and all
Yes.
that. But um that the I feel that also like we have the logic to understand, like you said, we're on vacation, but I've met people, and I can think of one specific person that comes to mind. I'm not gonna mention them, but they they
The
always
who I think it
go
is?
probably,
That one
but
guy?
will yeah, yeah.
Okay, okay.
Um, I don't even know what the word in English is, but like in Spanish is él añora to live where he goes to vacation. Like he craves it, I think would be the best way to describe
Okay.
it. But I've had these conversations with them, and he's not the first person. Like I've met other people, but with him it's been more in-depth combos that I'm like, but the reason why, because they're like, I just feel so much better when I'm on these places. And I'm like, but you're on vacay. You
No,
literally
yeah,
have
right.
no
Like,
responsibility. Like
yeah.
you know, and I think it also comes from the type of mindset that I'm like, I like to like have all my P's and Q's or whatever. There's like a my
Hmm.
T's and I's dotted, whatever, right? I like to have that all my ducks in a row before I'm making a
Uh-huh.
decision like that. Versus I do know
Uh-huh.
that their kind of take is kind of like the Lord will provide. And I'm like, Ma, papito, you're gonna end up
That
sending
is, yeah.
coconuts on the beach. And there's nothing
Yeah.
wrong with that. But like it's not a realistic view, you know? But it always boggles my mind because I was on vacay and again you start getting all the reels because our FBI agents they hear your thoughts and they start putting your little thingies, right? So as we were getting ready to leave the Bahamas, I kept getting the little
Hmm.
thingies of like, oh, me about to quit my job and sell bracelets on the like shit like that. And
That's
I'd be like, how
hilarious.
funny. Never though. Like we're funny ha-has. Okay, this is funny
Okay.
ha-ha. This is not. We're not
Yeah.
doing this in life. I'm coming back to my real life back
Do
here.
not do that. Do not do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Part of the reason why I know I want to actually live in Amsterdam again is because I did study abroad there for 6 months, and while yes, 6 months is a short time, it's also enough for the novelty of it to wear off.
Yeah.
And I still enjoyed being in that city, and I still felt very
Yeah.
comfortable in that city. So I'm pretty confident when I say that I would love to live in Amsterdam. Although I do have this little dream of mine, and that is, and I've told you guys before, it is to fly to Ireland, right? Get myself a little cottage, and just be allá sola,
Yeah.
tranquila, little
Fair,
doggy,
fair.
you know?
The only other place that I've seen that I'm like, huh, I can see this and see it a bit more realistically was Scotland.
Mm-hmm.
Because it has enough of a city life,
Mm-hmm.
where I'm still feeling like, similar vibes to our area that we're in. Um, and there was a lot of other cultures that I really liked, right? It was very diverse in the bits that we saw,
Mm-hmm.
which to me
That
specifically is
Indian
very
food, that
important.
Indian food in Scotland,
Phenomenal. No, and not just like they had so much other food too,
so
like that
much.
we didn't
That
even get
cuisine
to
was
fully get
key
in
for
there.
sure.
The only parts that sometimes kind of make me nervous to take that step is that I'm very Latina, and so I need me my Latino products. And so, but again, that's all stuff that you would have to research and find out and do. And sometimes maybe you have to even start yourself. One really little quick small tidbit was when we were in the Bahamas, when we were looking for the restaurants, I found a Peruvian restaurant. We didn't
Yeah.
get to eat there because it wasn't open. But it was great. It was a Peruvian spot, and I saw their menu had all the items, and I'm like, we're coming back to here. But anyway, but okay, cool. So you would not just randomly drop everything and move. Cool. I'm glad we're at a
No,
logical
I'm not. I don't care how this sounds, but that's so stupid. No.
place. It is. If you don't have to, why put yourself through that craziness?
Mm,
No. But nice. All right. So then what is our topic for the week? Well, anywho, so that was great little random thought of the week. So let us jump into the topic of this week. My sweet baby,
yeah.
my sweet Liv, go off.
Yeah, no, because I was talking with some people recently, and it's always interesting to hear other takes. And it's just
Hmm.
this, but see, this is one of those takes where I can sympathize, but I don't fully agree or
Yeah,
really understand their point
yeah,
of view. And
yeah.
so the topic that I was discussing was if you have kids, and they start showing interest in the things of the opposite gender. So, like, to say you have a little girl, she likes, like
Things
the
are
male
normally
action figure.
categorized for
Yeah,
boys.
say for boys, right? Like male action figures, games like that, maybe violent things, which is, yeah, I'm like, why is this categorized as porn? Anyways, that's here or there. Or boys that like such like in like more
That
girl
is not their
things.
normal gender norm stuff.
Correct. So maybe
Yeah,
like dresses, maybe like makeup, or they like dolls, right?
yeah.
Would you view this as something you need to correct or guide or keep an eye on? Um, because the person I was talking to, like, oh no, like you need to stay on top of that. You need to show them the way, um, guide them. Like this is you're a boy. This is what boys do, right? You're a
Yeah.
girl. This is what girls do. And I'm like, you know what? I'm like, respectfully, I completely disagree. I
Mhm.
disagree wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
And like, well, what do you mean? And I was like, well, me, I honestly do not give a rat's ass about any of that, right? Like, I understand I am not a mother, I'm only an aunt, but if I see a kid playing with anything, and it's nothing detrimental, it's nothing that like a bad influence or
Age
anything like that. I'm
appropriate.
like, it's
Yeah.
exactly. I don't give a fuck what it is or what gender it's marketed towards.
Yeah.
If I have a son that wants to wear a dress, go the fuck off. If I have a girl that wants
Yeah.
to wear nothing but pants, go the fuck off. It generally,
Yeah.
and I tell him, I was like, literally, my only concern is happy and healthy. Anything
Yeah.
else,
Yeah.
anything else, I do not care.
I wholeheartedly agree. I'm on that same boat, and again, I've been told by
Mm-hmm.
old generations when I've had this same discussion with them, they're like, "That's your
Mm-hmm.
take now you're not a parent, right? And I'm like,
I
I
get
don't
that.
really,
I
I
get
get
told
that
that,
all
yeah.
the time. And I'm like, I again, until I have, if I ever have children, I won't be able to answer that, but I can almost wholeheartedly say I don't really think my opinion is going to change.
Hmm.
Because I do think that if there's a difference between you saying, "Oh yeah, I like I'm okay with certain things," than you fully being okay and understanding all the nuances, right?
Hmm.
And that's where I do feel like I do fully think that I would be okay with that. If I have a daughter, or better said, I don't think I'm gonna enforce certain gender norms that have
Hmm.
been established by society to the children that I plan to have, right?
Hmm.
Where, but it's also very, like, I feel like you have to surround yourself with people that have that same like-mindedness.
Yeah.
Because it will be as simple, like, for example, I personally, if I have, decide to have children, I don't think I'll do a gender reveal party, right?
I
Because in
would
my head, I'm
not.
like,
I don't. I think
I
they're
don't
pointless. I'm not
care.
gonna lie.
Yeah, I don't care. Part of me would want to know what the gender is going to be before having the child for
Hmm.
myself personally.
Okay.
But simply
I'd be
more to,
curious to find out.
yeah, but for me, it'd be more on the sense of like to prepare myself health wise in the sense of like, how you care for a baby girl and a baby
True.
boy is very different. But see, for me at the same time, I actually wouldn't have to know. I wouldn't mind the surprise because I've had experience on both. And all in all, the products that you're using are the same, you know?
Hmm.
And so it's not even a necessity. But you, like, for example, with my family, if I were to, like, my parents would want to know because they're like, well, I want to gift you things that are appropriate. Like, if I'm gonna give you clothes, I
Hmm.
want to give you girl clothes. Or if I'm gonna give you clothes, I want to give you boy clothes, right? Um,
Hmm.
I think I would most likely, um, while I do say that I won't enforce certain gender norms, I do think if I were to have a daughter or a son, um, like my son, my baby boy son, I wouldn't go ahead and like put him on a dress, right? But not because I'm against it. I just think, like, I know it sounds dumb, I know, but like, hear me out, right? Like, let's say if
Okay.
like they turn two or they start being more, and then you see that they gravitate towards it, then sure. But like,
Okay.
it wouldn't like, for example, I don't even know how to say it, like, or explain it. Like, I wouldn't if I have my 6 month old and I don't and
Yeah.
it's a boy and I was never
Yeah.
gifted a dress for him, I'm not
Yeah.
gonna go out and buy the dress for him, if that makes sense,
Okay.
for my six
Right.
months.
Right.
But if
No,
they
that's
start
fair.
growing up and then they're like pink dress, like I'll dress them in pink. That's fine. But if
Yeah,
they
that's
personally
fair.
they want a dress, yeah, you can have a dress. Yeah, you want to dress as a princess
No,
for
that's fair.
Halloween?
No, the face
Cool.
I made earlier was simply because the girls' clothing is so fucking cute. And
So
the fact if I had a boy and I'm like, what you mean I can't put you in this cute ass dress right now? You a baby, you don't know shit. Like
yeah,
newborn when they literally don't know shit. I'm like
yeah.
the urge to put you in this cute ass dress right now.
Girl, girl clothing is so freaking cute. The amount of times
It
that my mom and I
is.
will walk and we're like it's so cute. So
And
cute.
I
I
know,
love
and I say this because I have a nephew, so I look at the boy stuff, and I was like, this shit's so boring. And then I walk by the girls, and I was like, oh my god, look at this. I hate it so bad. So can I say with my whole chest that I will not be putting my newborn son in a dress? I can't. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I cannot say that because
it. That's fair. And I wouldn't
there's
even
some
bat an
really
eye
cute
to it.
outfits out there.
There's some really cute out.
Appreciate it. Um, but
It's just
continue the
so
discussion. Yeah, again, I would not care. Same thing
no.
as you. Like if they asked for it, I'd be like, yeah, we can get to that. You want that's gonna make you happy? You happy? I'm happy. That's what I
My
see.
my dream is, and I don't care what whatever my child is, right? But I used to love when I was growing up, very
Hmm.
little, my mom would go get her nails done, and then she would let me get my little nails just painted, right? Because just
Uh huh.
little smidge. the way that I can't wait if and when I have kids for me to go get my nails done and then my child wants to get their nails done. Like I love it. I
That's
love
such
it.
a
And
cute bonding
again, I
moment.
know that I won't care at all
Uh-huh.
what they want to do if it's a boy or a girl because I remember working at a daycare and
Yeah.
that's how I from the gal was like, okay, yeah, no, I don't think I would care. Again, not my child, but still
Hmm.
I was at the daycare and it was a Spanish speaking daycare, right? And there was a little boy that his family was very relaxed in that sense. So if he wanted to wear his older like cuz he was growing, he was like I think the last one out of like four other siblings. So if he wanted to wear the sister's hand-me-down leggings that had little flowers on it, go off. If underwear
Okay.
wise, he wanted to wear the little like whatever he wanted, they parents did not care. Um
Okay.
but they also kept it to a minimum. But I quickly understood that it wasn't because they actually cared. It was because they understood that sending their kid to maybe a daycare where there's other kids that don't have that,
Mm.
they run the risk of getting bullied or bothered. Um, and
That
so
is a
I
topic
remember,
that was broached as well. Like, okay, but you're just like opening up for bullying.
well, I'm like, well, that's because you're not raising your kids right enough because you shouldn't be bugging anyone on what they're wearing or doing, right? Because, but
Preach.
anyway, finishing off with that little kid, I remember that the first time that it was kind of like I realized, oh, okay, not everyone has the same openness. Was that this little boy, it started noticing because he was always wearing sneakers with socks. And
Hmm.
then we went to an outdoor thing, and when he took his socks off, he had his toes painted, right? And so one of the other teachers, she was this older Latina lady, and she was like, oh, that's not okay. And I'm like, why? I'm like, he's not even like, it's not we wouldn't have even found out had he not taken off his socks. Why do you care? It's not your kid.
Yeah.
Like his parents are clearly okay with it. And they're like, well, no, he's a little boy. And so then the director also had a son. And the son was, I think, maybe a year older. But she
Okay.
was very much like, you're a boy, so you're doing boy
Mm-hmm.
things and very had him in a lot
Mm-hmm.
of boy activities. But nonetheless, the kid had long hair, and that was always a problem because she was like, I don't know why they always bother him. Oh, you're a girl because it's just hair, right? And so she was still arguing with the fact that it was a nail polish, and I'm like, why is that so different? You having
Mm-hmm.
deciding to keep your
Mm-hmm.
kid's hair long to them painting the nails, and she's like, because there's guys that have longer hair, and I'm like, okay, and it's just nail polish, right? And I'm like, at the end of the day, I'm like, listen, we don't have to agree on what would be right, what isn't right. We should not care what this kid is doing because
Mm-hmm.
these parents are fine with it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so we left it off as that, but I was just like, who cares? Baby boy wants to have his nails done, have his little nails done, you know? As long as you're doing things that are, again, age appropriate, you know, you're not putting,
Yeah,
if
man.
let's say my 8-year-old wants to wear, I don't know, a dress, but then the dress is kind of like a little too tight and short, I'm gonna be like, Papito, I'm sorry. But you can't wear that not because you can't wear a dress, but we need to find something lower than the knee.
Yeah.
And we're gonna put them high
Yeah.
stockings on there because I don't want no one looking at your little leggies. Okay?
Yeah.
Like,
Preach.
yeah.
Yeah. And then
But I was gonna say,
I also get tossed the argument that for the people that want to be like, oh, gender is a how to phrase it,
social
I guess like
construct.
a no, a physiological thing, like it's an innate thing of like you're born with it, right? Like it's a what's that word? Instinct, like it's
Oh,
an instinct, right? Like oh, the
yeah.
women are gonna like instinctively like nurturing and da 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 da, da and then men are naturally protective, that kind of bullshit, right? I
Yeah.
don't completely wipe it, right? Because there are innate feelings that you feel as like a mother or a father or a parent, kind of things like that, right? I don't think there's so much tied to as to gender. But I'm
Yeah.
like, if you're claiming it's so innate, right? What is them wearing a dress gonna do to that?
Yeah. No,
Like,
and
is a dress
I'll be
gonna
honest,
cancel out your biology? Like, I don't think so, bud. So what's the problem?
no. You know, and so for me, I find that argument so interesting when the other people present that because I've seen it growing up and I've seen it in
Mm,
children around me. I do think gender is an instinct thing, but in the sense of that people identify even at an early age with a gender.
Mm-hmm.
regardless of their like born sex. Because I've
Mm-hmm.
seen little girls that technically if it's instinct, they should be going towards the girlier stuff, right? No, they
Right.
are going full on with the boy
Looking
gender
well, she hated
things,
it her whole life.
bro. And then I've seen little boys that are swaying the opposite side, right? And I'm like, I think when you start kind of wanting to push that away, you end up
Yeah.
also pushing them towards full on, like other stuff that I'm like, you could have saved yourself a lot of the not the heartache, but like the headaches of all that kind of conversation, had you allowed
Mm-hmm.
them to express themselves the way they want to, right? Because
Yeah.
a lot of topic that also comes in that they're like, well, if you allow all this, how do you know that they're not gonna want to like start transitioning at an early age? And I'm like, well, at the end of
Word.
the day, you're the parent, right? So I feel like
Yeah.
the want to transition is because you're not allowed to fully express yourself versus when you are actually, and there's people that later on, even in okay, I was allowed to wear all these things, I still want to transition, go off, but you didn't have to feel like you had to repress it, where now you
Mm-hmm.
want to go full on to the opposite side, which again,
Mm-hmm.
nothing wrong if you want to go off, but I do think that maybe allowing your daughter or your son to not have to care if what they're wearing is a girl thing or a guy thing is going
Mm-hmm.
to allow them to feel comfortable expressing themselves enough where they're like, do I want to, am I just identifying as this or do I want to fully transition, But that's a conversation that
Yeah,
you're allowing them that peace of mind to think about without having the need to feel the need to rush into certain things.
for sure.
Um,
And
but
while
yeah,
I
no,
can
I know.
sympathize that having so much openness also opens the door to like so much uncertainty, right? But at the
Mhm.
same time, you're also giving a chance for confidence, right? Like if you're letting your child be confident in who they are and what they like, right? That's
Yeah.
less question, like you said. Like later, they probably don't. If transition is going to be a thing that you're worried about, you might not. Again, you're letting them explore. Be like, oh, you know what? I like the girly things. I like looking at it, but then getting it on me, not so much. Or same thing with the girl. Like maybe little girls like, oh, I like seeing masculine energy, but then like me personally, it's not.
I don't
Like
want to be a man. I
exactly.
just like flannels, or I like the fact that my pants have pockets, right? Because I think
Yes.
another thing that came into my mind as when we were first bringing it up is as much as I do love girl clothes, there's certain
Mm-hmm.
kind of neutral pieces that I would buy boy clothes for my girl in the sense of
Mm-hmm.
you will compare shorts
Oh
of
God, I know.
of
Yep, I
a
know where you're
little girl
starting on that. I
short
hate this.
to boy shorts and they are so short. Or
Yeah.
as much as I love me my dresses, I would only put in my baby girl in a bikini. Like you know how they sell the cute little girl bikinis? If I know that I'm at home with my
Yeah.
family or people that are not gonna look at my kid weird, but if we going outside, we gonna wear them long sleeve. Everyone's wearing the long sleeve stuff. It also protects your little skin. Like, there's
For
no
sure.
chafing, there's none of
And
that stuff.
everyone's in beach shorts.
Yup, long. We going past the knee, okay? We gonna be
Yep.
nuns up
That's
in this
that's where
bitch,
we're
okay?
going straight to the boys section. I do not care. I
Yup,
do not care. When
yup,
you're older,
because
we're gonna have a different discussion. But when you young and you dumb, which is very well
you're a kid,
into,
you're
yeah,
innocent, you're
I
relaxed,
do
and
not.
the last
We're
thing,
not
and sadly,
arguing.
yeah, yeah, and sadly, we live in a world where you cannot trust just having your kid out there like, oh, but it's
Yeah,
like because there was an old school mindset where like, oh, it's just a baby, who cares if it's a baby running around naked? No, I
yeah,
care because there's other motherfuckers out there that are looking at my baby differently. So no, I'm not gonna have my
yeah.
baby running around naked, not because I'm a weirdo, not because my family's a weirdo, but because, well, I will safely say whoever is around my kids are not weirdos, but I
Hmm.
also don't know, so we're gonna be in
Yeah.
a burlap. Okay, we're gonna make sure you're covered. We're not
Burlap
doing
is
none of that
crazy.
exposed stuff. At least not out in public. Where's my chancla? Okay, there it is.
Deadass.
I lost my chancla for 2 seconds, but I took it off. But anyway,
Baby girl, you're sad. How do you
yeah,
lose a
no,
chancla?
I crossed my leg and then I started.
Se
fidgeting
fue
with my
volando.
chancla off screen.
Okay. Okay.
No, I
How funny.
accidentally put it under my table. Anyway, going back.
Um, yes, no, definitely heavy on that, heavy on that. Again, safe, healthy, happy. That's literally all I fucking care.
Yeah,
And then for the people that are concerned about the
yeah,
transitions or showing them weird things, being a weird influencer, like you're not letting that, like they need to develop their minds because they don't know yet. I'm like, do tell
yeah,
me what this big thing you're trying to fearmonger is. Like, what are we actually concerned about with what they wear or what they
yeah.
play with? Like, like actually, like this is what I'm saying when I don't actually understand it at all. Like, what
Boys, yeah,
is the concern? Do you not are you being transphobic? Is that what's happening here? Is do you not have a word for it? Because I can
yeah,
tell you that's being transphobic, right? If that's your big concern that they might transition, and I'm like, oh no, like I don't care later what
yeah.
they do, but it's just like they need to know better. And I was like, better? What's so then is alternative
What's
bad?
the better? Yeah.
Exactly. Like
Another
better than
another
what, bro?
example Another example would be, and again, I can only really revert back to when I worked at the daycare because that's where I was seeing it live, was the amount of times that you would see the girls went off and played with certain toys, and the boys went off
Mhm.
and played with certain toys. But then the smaller children, the few times that we would kind of allow them to intermingle, the way you would see like the little 2 and 3 year olds trying to figure out where they want to go or what they liked most. And
Mhm.
there was one little boy, my sweet baby boy Rocco. Oh my God. To this day, that little boy, I remember him vividly. Anyway, he would play a little bit on both sides, but he loved to play in the kitchen and with the babies, right? And in the kitchen, I'm like, I know that he's around his mama when his mama is cleaning because that little boy would take a little pretend rag and he would clean his pretend kitchen, and he was a really good cleaner. Listen, his pretend
Okay.
cleaning, that boy was top notch. And I still have clips from when we had, I'm not gonna insert them, but they were so cute because he would go and he would lift something from the table and then clean it, and then he would move the chair and under the chair clean it, clean under the chair, and I
Oh
was
my
like,
God, that's
yeah, and a white
detailed.
little baby at that. I was like, that mama's clean.
Yes, she
And he
is.
loved playing with the babies, right? And a lot of times I would see some of the older boys that have been raised, and boys, whatever, they'll be like, oh, why is Rocco playing with this? He should come play with us. And I'm like, you leave Rocco alone. Rocco wants to play with the girls and he wants to play with his baby girl, like the babies and whatever. Because again, when we would have these conversations with the other teachers, because I'm like, no one's getting hurt.
Mhm.
Everyone's playing nice. There is no need for us to intervene unless something bad's going on. But there's no reason for me to
Yeah,
have to take this little baby boy and be like, no, go play trains with the boys. He doesn't want to play trains right now. And it's
exactly.
not that he wouldn't. He
Exactly.
would sometimes play train. And they're like, oh, but like, he's doing girl things. I'm like, what are the girl things? He's cleaning and he's taking care of a baby. If this little boy one day grows up, decides, let's say, scratch the baby part, has his own home, he's gonna have to know how to clean. Granted, I don't think playing is the way that he's learning, but at the end of the day, he's mimicking what he's seeing at home.
Yeah,
So if he continues to do that, meaning in his head, we all clean. I think that's something very good to be learning. Like I don't
I
really understand.
respect
And they're
that.
like, oh, I guess. And I'm like, no, there's no I guess, bro. Like he wants to play. And if he wants to play dollies, like really what is one? I don't know how you were playing. Well, I don't know. My dollies were playing a little crazy sometimes, but that's neither here nor there. But when you're playing dollies, you're just imaginative, make
Yeah,
believe, whatever that is inspiring their little brains to be creative. The same way that if a little girl wants to play trains, and then now there's a big old monster attacking, creative little minds. Creative little minds. There's nothing
yeah.
like
Funny enough, I just remembered. I don't know if you watch Abbott Elementary or no?
I've watched a few clips, but not religiously.
Okay, in this one of the recent episodes, they're at a mall, and so they had to hire a second custodian, and this one was a
Okay.
woman.
You
And
told me, yeah,
so
we saw an episode, I think, together. Yeah.
yeah, their main custodian is a man, right? And so he's like, why the fuck is a woman here? A woman should be doing women's job, running offices, building spaceships, shit like that, not cleaning. Leave the house to the men.
Yes.
That shit
He was an
cracked me
older
up,
gentleman
man.
too.
He is, yes. Yeah, no, that shit cracked me up, and I'm like, you get it, exactly.
Yeah. No, I loved it, and I think that at least if I'm raising my kids, or I always say I will respect the parents whatever they want. Like, so if I'm ever babysitting a kid and the family has, we
Right.
will only allow them to do certain things, I'll respect it, but I will tell you one thing, I will most likely not be going back to that household simply because not that I can't like I will respect the boundaries and I will do it, but I also don't want to continue enforcing that, right? So
Yeah,
I will not put myself in the situation where I have to sit there and tell a little like because again, kids get curious and where they feel
that's fair.
comfortable, they will be asking those questions too, you
Yeah,
know? And now I'm not gonna sit here and lie to the kid and be like, yeah, I do think that you should only play with boy toys. I will just avoid the conversation and be like, let's pivot elsewhere, child, because I'm not allowed to tell you what I think, and I'm not gonna tell you that I don't think that because then you're confusing the child, and I don't want to
yeah.
do that, right? But it's very, very hard, or not very hard, but it's interesting to see because there have been other children in my life that I've definitely been like, well, your mom wouldn't want me to tell you that, so we're just gonna ignore that. We're gonna ignore that.
Yeah.
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 It's
Let's
a tricky little bridge there, you know.
Yeah. Especially depending on how active you are in the child's life. Because I'm always like, I think a good example is like my nieces and nephew.
Hmm.
They are very much growing up in a Christian household, which I think there's a goodness to it because there's certain things times that I'm having conversation with the kids and I'm like, I love that. That is definitely a value that I love for you to have. But I remember one of the conversations was when Encanto came out, right?
Mm.
And they really loved it. Great movie. I agree. It's a good movie. But my
Agreed.
nephew, I don't remember how old he was when it came out, but he was still young enough where one of my favorite songs is Luisa's song, Surface Pressure, right?
Oh, hmm.
And we're watching, the whole family sat, we're watching. And he goes to me and he goes, I don't like her. And I'm like, why don't you like her, Papito? He's like, she's weird. And I'm like, why is she weird? And he's like, she's strong, like she's like a man, but she's not. That doesn't make sense to me. And I'm like, you trying to say girls can't be strong? Right. So I try to go on the logical part. I'm like, trying to
Right.
say girls can't be strong? And he's like, but not like that. And so I go, because he was smaller, and I lift him from his legs. I'm like, I thought you said girls can't be stronger. Look at me. I'm Titi Natalie, and I'm taller and I'm stronger than you. And he starts
I
cracking
remember.
up, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And so he cracks up, and then he's like, oh. He's like, so girls can be strong? And I'm like, of course, Poppy. I'm like, anyone could be strong. I'm like, Luisa has done a lot of stuff that are requires her to be strong. So that's why she's that strong, you know?
Hmm.
Same way I'm like, when you grow up, you can be that strong. When your sister grows up, she can be that strong, you know? And so he was like
I
it
love
stayed in
this.
his mind, but then at the
Hmm.
same time, he was like, yeah, I don't like it though. And I'm like, that's okay. Cause I knew that like I'm not gonna sit here and teach you more because I know that's not what this household is teaching, right? I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh, but like what's like let's break down why don't you like it? Because she's acting like a boy. I'm like, not my homework because
That's fair.
it's an assign I'm taking extra credit
That is fair.
and I'm gonna be reprimanded for the extra credit. So I was like, we're not
You're
gonna
not
do
wrong. You're
that.
not wrong.
I'm like, yeah. I'm like, if he's older, once he gets a little older and he chooses to want to talk to me and actually explore that, happily. But I
Hmm.
know that I can't go sit there and explain why it's fine. But yeah,
Fair.
kids are a lot
You
more
know,
understanding than I think we give them credit though.
this is very true. I agree with that. But conversations like this makes me think, how to phrase it without offending. We should have kids because we have great, point of views. Um,
They always
and yet
say a
we are
lot of the
not.
people that decide to not have kids are the ones
Yeah.
that should have them because
Yeah.
they've gone through the logic of understanding what it takes to raise kids. That's not
Yeah.
taking away from people that have chosen to have kids because there's a lot of people that are phenomenal parents. You're like, oh
Yeah.
my God, You literally have decided to be a parent, and this has been the best choice that you could have made because, and I have met people like that. A lot of the people that I've
Mhm.
nannied for, I was like, wow, you inspire me to I would want to carry my family or my household in this way. But
Mhm.
there's a lot of people that really shouldn't have. Um, in the world in general,
Yes.
nothing specific, but yeah,
Nope.
yeah, yeah.
Yup.
But
Yup.
I was gonna say, yeah, no, we've made many the joke kind of well, you were saying, we don't want listen, the idea of having children every time gets farther for me, because
Yeah.
I had said when I was like maybe in my early 20s, like limits 30. Bitch, that is
Yeah.
6 months from now, and hell no. Hell to the no. That then changed in like my mid 20s. And I told you, if I come and hit you that I want to have kids before 35, hit me. And I'm
Yes.
like, 35 sounds really close. That's my birthday. It's right there. And having we
Uh,
and the only thing that has reiterated it or like doubled down was us being on vacation and being on that adults only all inclusive.
oh my god. Bro,
I love all the
the
children in my
second we
life.
go back in the fucking airport and we hear kids crying and shit, and I'm like, I'm
We
just
both
trying
look
to
at each
relax
other
in
like,
my lounge. Why are you in here?
bro, bro. I love all the children that are in my life that I like and I love and all
Same.
that. Love
My
them.
nephew is a
They're not
precious treasure to me.
And they're not included when I say this phrase, but the way that in the trip I was like, fuck them kids, fuck them kids. I don't need it. I don't want it. This isn't the
No,
first
it
time
was
that
the
I've been
people
on
cop
vacation and
shit.
experienced this. When we were in Peru with Dom, we were waiting, I think, we were gonna like take a bus somewhere, and we were sitting there and we were talking about how man. Like we are chilling. We are like this is gonna sound crazy, but to me, I'm like, I'm at my prime. Why would I ruin that like that? Like, why would I go and like the only times that I do think having a kid right now would be great is when I think of the elders in my family. Like, I'm like, my mom and my
Ah,
dad would so love to partake in me having a child.
yeah,
And another person that I've
yeah.
added to the mix that I'm like, oh, you're the only people that I would actually like, okay, if I find a good one and settle down, my aunt, the one that we always hang out with on my dad's side,
Hmm.
I'm like the way that she would love being around helping me raise this child would be great. But I'm like, that is not enough. Because then I'm like, then I'm stuck with baby boy or baby girl.
Yeah,
No.
no. Again, it was for me when I ordered that mojito at 11 a.m. I could never with the child, and I don't want this to be my last mojito at 11 a.m.
Oh my God. No, no. Or
No. And like
no.
again, we were just sitting in that lounge and shit was quiet, right? We're just waiting for sitting tranquilas. And then that family rolled in, and then it was nonstop crying.
And at the same time, it's not that we're like, don't cry. We understand you're a child, you're gonna cry.
Yeah.
But to me, the idea that I have to deal with that on the 24/7 basis,
Mm-mm,
no,
mm-mm,
no, no,
mm-mm,
no, no.
mm-mm.
Or I
No,
even
no.
think like,
Yeah, I've had the discussion with someone before that I'm like, I don't like kids like that. And they're like, oh, but you love your nephew. And I was like, yeah. And if he wasn't my nephew, I wouldn't spend time with him. No, I babysit him and I'm like, when's your mother coming? I love you though. But there are some days where I'm like, I've only
no,
had you for 3 hours and I'm tired.
yeah, no, I do know that I do like children more in that sense because I'll seek out babysitting. Like it's been a minute since I babysat, and I'm like, I need a child around me.
You
And
want a
and I'm
child?
gonna babysit this big. No, I don't want a
Mm.
child. I want it for a little
Not
bit.
like
That's my
that.
thing.
That's what I'm saying. If you ever, I can bring my child to you.
We'll figure that one out. We'll figure that one out.
She's
because I love that kid. Great kid.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I
yeah.
babysit for the people I babysit because I like the way I have to babysit these kids. You
Uh-huh,
know, like,
uh-huh, uh-huh. You
they're
don't want the
just
high energy?
no,
But listen,
no.
what sooner way to knock that right out of you?
No, but baby, when I say I want my kid, like I want to hang out around the kid, I know where to go. And I go, I scratch the itch and I'm fine. I'm not saying, oh, I want one. I'm
Oh no,
saying
no, I know, I know.
so there's nothing to be like itched around, but if y'all need, I'll happily do so. I'll happily accept. A little homie likes me too, or I think likes me, in the times that we've
Me
been around
too.
each other.
It's so
Yeah,
funny. He loves Sandra. Sandra doesn't like kids at all.
no. Well, they say kids like being around the people because a lot of those times the people that aren't really like that with kids, they're their
Mhm.
most genuine selves around them, and kids gravitate towards that.
Very
So
true. Very true.
if you're too much of a try hard around kids, they smell that shit and they're like,
Word.
bye. Yeah.
That's
You
good.
have to be very
Again,
nonchalant.
I
Very much like
respect kids.
cats. You know how like I'm not comparing a child to a cat, but I'm just saying, like how cats are very like, oh, the minute
Oh,
that you're
okay, I
like,
see.
yeah,
Yeah.
some kids are very, very distinctive like that.
Just
But
saying.
yeah,
And this
no.
is
Long
exactly what
story
I'm saying.
short, if
We
we were
kids
to
kids
have
aren't dumb.
kids,
Kids know what they want, and people just need to
yeah,
start respecting kids' wants.
yeah. I was gonna say, that being said, although we were
Yeah.
just going off a rant on how much we don't want them, if we were to have them, yeah, I would very much allow them to express themselves. You
I
also
wouldn't give a
and
flying.
that's and I'm not gonna lie, that is one of the many reasons why I have not had them because it is very difficult to find partners
Mm-hmm.
nowadays that are okay with that. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
specifically speaking in the sense of like if I were to be with a man and raise a kid with a man, the amount of times that I've had this conversation and I'm like, why are you trying to change my mind, papito? Like
Mm-hmm.
clearly we want to raise them differently, so that means we are not gonna raise them together. So then stop trying to convince me. I'm not trying to convince you. I do
Yeah.
think your take is dumb, but you know, raise your kids how
No,
you
but
want.
no, they just love to just try and manipulate women and be like, I like you, so just think like me. But
Yeah.
fuck you.
Yeah. But anywho, all right, cool. So I think this is a good note to end on in the
Mm,
sense of raising kids. Let us know in the comments down below if you agree or disagree.
yeah.
You can
If
disagree,
you
obviously.
disagree, I really want to why from you. Not because, oh, because it's right or because it's wrong. No, because we just told you there is no right or wrong. It's a kid being happy, right?
Yeah.
Literally tell me why. I would love to hear it.
What's your reason why?
Hmm.
And if it's just simply that you want to fit the quote unquote traditional stuff, if that's your why, well, good luck with that. That's all we can really say.
You you yellow belly.
What?
Yellow belly, I'm pretty sure that's a saying when someone's like kind of like weak minded. You're like you just a yellow belly, okay? If you can't handle the pressure to being, doing your own shit, that's okay. That's fine. That's fine. But I'm gonna call you a yellow belly, bro. I
Okay.
think that's the term.
Well,
You know what I'm talking about, right?
according to Vine, yellow, but no. You yellow bellies, comment down there if you gonna keep to whatever we've been raised on. But what's it called? So yeah, drop a comment. As you guys know, we drop if you like this episode or more, we drop a new episode every Tuesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Spotify, on YouTube, on iHeartRadio, on any streaming platform you think we're on. We're most likely on there. We're also on social media. We are on TikTok and we are on Instagram, and Instagram's at 1.2 brain cells underscore official. We post videos and stuff on there. So please check us out. And if you want to be a guest, you can message us on there or message us privately. And as long as we all like you, you are more than welcome. Okay. So that being said, toodle loodle,
To the lean,
hugs and kisses.
not for me.
Not from her. All right. Bye.
Bye.